The following program is rated GE. It is suitable for general family viewing.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Body Garage here on TV 47. Now, they normally say that the eyes are the windows to the soul, but equally the eyes could be the windows to the body. But however, it normally is one part of the body that can be overlooked. So we walked into the streets to hear what you have to say about eye checkups. Do you understand what they are? Let's take a listen at what some of you said.
Eye checkup, mimi tu vile naweza elewa ni kuwa ile upate pia kuwa huru, kujijua, nikaa kujijua, ndio ujue mambo. Unajua kuna maneno mengi ya macho, kuna mambo mengi yenye macho inahusika nayo, na unajua macho ni chenye unaweza tazamia kitu, so lazima pia ujue ile umuhimu wa macho.
Maana ya eye checkup ni unaenda unafanyiwa uchunguzi wa macho. Kama uko na mashida kwa macho, unaweza fanyiwa uchunguzi. Unajua kuna mashida mingi, diseases za macho, unaenda pale unafanyiwa pia.
Kufanya eye checkup ni muhimu sana kwa sababu utaelewa shida kabla na kabla kuturu sana, na unaweza tibu mapema kwa sababu hata inasemekana kuzuia ni rahisi kuliko kutibu.
All right, so to help us understand the topic further, we have Dr. Wanjiku with us. How are you? Kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Wanjiku Mode. I'm a consultant ophthalmologist at City Eye Hospital, which is on Ngong Road. Yes, that's who I am.
Nice. So first, let's delve into what is the eye, what makes up the eye. Is it just the white part and the black on our faces?
Okay. I used to think that the eye is just a very small part of the body, but it's quite intricate when I went in to study more about the eye. So quite a number of different parts of the eye. I would want us to have a look at our image on the screen.
Okay.
As you can see, there are many different parts of the eye. Starting with the front part of the eye, which is called the cornea. So there are two parts of the eye that act as the windows. So they allow light into the eye and they magnify the image that you see. So you have the cornea, you have the lens right there in the middle. That is what you hear turns into a cataract when the clear window becomes cloudy. And then right at the back we have the nerve of the eye that transmits the images that you see into the brain for interpretation, right? And then the other different parts of the eye like the retina, and you can see there are blood vessels there, which will become very important when you start talking about diabetes and how diabetes affects the eye.
All right.
Yep.
Now we're talking about routine eye checks. What is that? Okay.
So from what I had people say, they wait until there's pain or any other symptoms for them to come for eye checkup. So let's demystify that.
Okay.
For most of the children who come into the hospital for checkups, let me start from the younger age group. So some teachers will complain when the children start to go to school that their children are struggling to see. And they'll encourage the parents to bring their children to the hospital, which is really great. And I applaud all teachers who do that because we really end up helping a lot of children. I've seen children suffer because they're told they're not bright just because they cannot see. Yeah, so they really struggle and they do poorly in school just because they're not able to see. Their parents were also resistant to getting their children a pair of glasses when they really do need them. I would want us to walk away from that. Glasses are for anyone who needs their glasses. Of course, prescribed by a specialist. Number two, when children have allergies, they tend to have discolored eyes and they also come into the hospital. However, there are countries that do regular checkups for children even before the complaints start. For example, in countries like Germany, they do annual checkup for their children just to catch things early enough and intervene in good time. In terms of checkup, we advocate for every 2 years for people below the age of 40, just to keep things, to get ahead of things. In case there's anything that is developing, the earlier we catch things, the better. But above the age of 40, quite a number of silent conditions that will not wait for symptoms, or by the time you have symptoms developing, it is usually a bit late. So there are quite a number of patients where I'll have to tell them, I'm sorry, there's not much I can do for you. That's really not the message we want to be giving to our patients. The earlier we come in, the better. Especially if we have one, chronic conditions such as diabetes. Number two, if there's a family history of eye health conditions, very important that they get ahead of these things before symptoms start. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you know, when you say an eye routine exam or something like that, it can look like it's a big word for some people, and they can be scared. So what should someone like look forward to when they're told you should actually consider having an eye checkup?
Okay. So traditionally, we have always thought of an eye checkup as walking into an optical shop. Let me say that the optical units are very important in terms of sorting out refractive errors. Refractive errors being far-sighted, long-sighted, or difficulty in reading. Okay, and they're very important. They form about 20% of eye problems. But then we have the 80%. So an eye checkup entails, one, checking your vision. Are you far-sighted, long-sighted, or do you have normal sight? Okay. And then number two, looking at the pressure of the eye, which is very important, can be very quiet, can have perfect vision, but have high eye pressure that causes nerve damage.
Okay.
Which is a very silent, slowly progressive, irreversible. So there are things that we cannot reverse. We don't wait until we have poor vision. So after you've checked the vision, you've checked the eye pressure. Believe it or not, the eye itself has its own eye pressure. Separate from high blood pressure, the eye has also pressure as well. And then from there, we do a full eye exam. So back to this, we look at the front part of the eye, we look at the pupil, we look at the lens, whether or not it has a cataract, we look at the back of the eye, we look at the retina properly, we look at the blood vessels, do they have any problem? And then we look at the nerve, and then we either give a clean bill of health and we say, let's see you in a year's time. Or if there's any problem, we either arrest it early or we address it according to the individual and what we have seen in the eye. That is what an eye checkup entails.
Okay, so it doesn't mean that when I come, it will automatically be that I'll get eyeglasses for that?
Not automatic. In fact, most of the time it will just be you're good to go. However, having said that, after the age of 40, usually around the age of 45, we start having difficulties in reading, right? And that is unfortunately a normal aging process. So about 80-85% of people after the age of 45 who start struggling to read. I remember my mom struggling to read her Bible when she was growing older, and I laughed at her, and now it is my turn to start struggling with fine print. So this is a normal aging process. So anyone who is struggling to read, don't be afraid. We are here to help you enjoy your life, to enjoy reading your Bible, to enjoy looking at your phone, to continue living your life to the fullest.
And for the children, you mentioned that some of them do come for the regular checks. How often should they come? For someone over 40, it's every 2 years. For children?
So under the age of 40, every 2 years. Over the age of 40, annually. So that is a guideline for people who don't have any symptoms. So I would say for anyone who's had their annual checkup, then if everything is okay, let's see you next year. But if you've come and we've seen their allergies or there's a need for glasses, then we'll advise on when is the next best time for a repeat visit.
Okay. Yes. All right. Now, I know that I'm coming for the eye checkup. What are the do's and don'ts before I come? There's some who say do not, you know, there are some people who'd be like, let your eyes rest for some time. What should I do?
Okay. So what I would advise is for the people who wear contact lenses to not have them on for about 2-3 days before the date of the checkup, because the contact lenses do affect the vision and also the eye pressure, and some of the tests that we do are actually affected by the fact that you've been wearing contact lenses for the last 72 hours. So we do advise that they be taken out. There are some who have special types of contact lenses called the hard contact lenses. They remove them about a week before the eye exam. Then for people who wear makeup with the mascara and whatnot, we advise that not be done on the day of
the exam.
Okay. Yes, because we'll be doing a lot of touching etc. You'll come with barely any left.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so tupunguze mascara sometimes.
Just that day, you can go back to it.
Okay. And so now let's move on to what are the types of tests that actually exist.
Allow me before that to go into the different types of eye conditions that we could be dealing with, because that also dictates the kind of test that we're going to do. Okay, so let me mention the top 4 or 5 that could be affecting our vision as a country. So number 1 that is top on our list is diabetes. Diabetes actually affects the body from head to toe. It is primarily a disease of the blood vessels. So it affects the blood vessels, and as you can see here in our image, there are blood vessels inside the eye. So they get damaged, and they also cause a lot of damage inside the eye. Now, for every patient who has diabetes, annual checkup is very, very important. The earlier we catch any damage that is happening, the better. Having said that, I have patients who have had diabetes 40, 45 years, and you don't see any kind of damage inside the eye, because the blood sugar is very well controlled. So really the onus is on the patient to have very strict following of the diet and the nutrition that as they are advised by the nutritionist, but also to have annual checkups, whether or not they are symptomatic. Okay, so diabetes is very huge, and we have quite a number of patients going blind because of diabetes. And this is avoidable, but it's not reversible. Okay, so we don't wait for symptoms. Number 2 is refractive errors. As I mentioned before, our optical units are very important in this aspect in terms of quite a number of our patients, either short-sighted, which we sort out with glasses, difficulty in reading, again we sort out with glasses, far-sighted, those are very few patients but they do exist, sorted out with glasses. So very important, very correctable, reversible kind of visual impairment. Number 3, and that is my area of specialty, this is glaucoma. Glaucoma is nerve damage. Nerve damage cannot be reversed. Usually comes because of high eye pressure, which is why I mentioned that we do check eye pressure at our facility for every patient who walks in. Because very quiet, very silent. We don't wait until we have symptoms. Again, symptoms are not what should bring you to the facility, please. So that's number 3. It's huge all over the world in terms of causing irreversible blindness. Okay. Then number 4, we've talked about refractive error for our patients in our country, Africans, blacks, let me say. We have a huge population who have allergies. And we have quite severe allergies compared to what is seen in our books and even in the West. So we suffer from allergies quite a bit, ranging from mild to severe, okay? Mostly affecting the young children, can go all the way into adulthood. So that also, that one is a bit kinder to us, because they do tend to have symptoms that are irritating, and so they end up coming to our facilities. So yes, allergies is huge in this country and in Africa as a whole. So that's another cause of eye problems that we see quite a bit. So each of these conditions, depending on at what we have seen from the vision. So we start from the vision, we check the eye pressure. So that step determines what test will be ordered by the clinician. So it is very tailored to the findings of each patient.
All right. Thank you. That is very interesting. But first, let's take a health break. I will be right back, but let's take a look at the facts and myths board. Having perfect 6/6 vision means you have no eye problem. While having good distance vision is important, it is not the whole picture. There are painless conditions on the cornea, retina, and optic nerve that can still be present even when the vision is good. Spectacles and contact lenses weaken the eyes. Spectacles and contact lenses help us to see better only when worn. However, there are age-related changes that occur in the eyes under the age of 20 and over the age of 40 that are independent of spectacle or contact lens use. If you do experience worsening vision while on spectacle correction, please visit an ophthalmologist for further assessment. Eyes can be transplanted. Only parts of the eyes, particularly the cornea, can be transplanted onto an eye. The goat eye we hear about is likely a plastic prosthesis implanted into the eye socket when we remove the eyeball, as we do in some cases of the cancer of the eye, severe infection, etc. Welcome back. This is Body Garage on TV47 and we have the lovely Dr. Wanjiku. So before we went on the break, you were talking about some of the eye conditions. You have not mentioned cataracts.
Thank you very much. So we've talked about diabetic retinopathy, diabetes, how diabetes affects the eye. We've talked about allergies, we've talked about glaucoma, and we've talked about glasses,
yes,
refractive errors. So another very, very common cause of visual impairment in our country is cataracts. So cataracts, I'll take you back to our image of the eye. So we have a lens inside the eye, a natural lens. It's supposed to be clear.
Yes.
It is usually clear and allows the light to go in through like a clean window. But due to various reasons, either injury, mostly because of age. I'll keep mentioning age.
Okay.
As part of aging, the lens starts to become cloudy and the vision becomes foggy or misty. Can also happen in diabetics much earlier. So we have 30-year-old patients who have diabetes and they have cataracts much, much earlier. So this is very easy to solve. Simple 10-minute surgery. We remove the natural lens, we replace it with an artificial lens. Very common condition in our country and also a very common condition worldwide.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. What about color blindness? Do you check for that as well?
Yes, we do. We do have some charts. Very interesting kind of charts. So they have colors and different hues of colors where anyone who can appreciate the different colors and different hues is able to detect the different numbers or letters within the pattern. But patients who are colorblind are not able to detect those patterns or those colors, and that's how we detect color blindness. Color blindness is a genetic condition. Unfortunately, not much can be done about it. But there are understandably some careers which someone who is colorblind cannot go into. Yep.
Okay, and now let's move to the healthy part of it. What should someone eat? When I was growing up, my mom used to say, you know, eat a lot of carrots. You'll improve your eyes. So then how does my lifestyle then impact the health of my eye?
Okay, great question. So in two ways. One, carrots are good. Not only for the eyes but for the rest of your body. But we encourage a healthy, balanced diet. Not only for carrots but also vegetables and fruits are very good. The antioxidants and all that. The eyes and the retina use a lot of antioxidants. So antioxidants are also in the berries, particularly the blueberries, the purple, purple tea, purple cabbage. Those are rich in antioxidants. But good also for the rest of the body in general. However, the eye is in the body, so the body as a whole has to be healthy. You can't just look at the health of the eye alone. Remember, diabetes also affects the eye. So a healthy diet that reduces your chances of diabetes in the long run also enhances the safety of the eyes. So a healthy, balanced diet is good for you.
It's good for
It's great, and it's great for the eyes as well.
All right.
Yep.
Now, I've taken care of all that, and I've come to you now. What should I expect once I just hit your desk? What should I expect that you'd look into?
Okay. So even before you get to my desk, as I said, I need to know what's your vision, which is usually done. We have a section that deals with visual acuity. We check the eye pressure, and then at my desk, at the machine, I will ask a few questions. Family history. Do you have any systemic conditions? Are you diabetic? We have young diabetics. So the question about systemic conditions is not only restricted to the older people. Are you on any medications? We have patients who have autoimmune conditions. So a good history taking is very important, and that tells me what to expect. Also, any history of surgery, any history of surgery in the eyes or anywhere else you have been to previously, have you worn glasses. So a good history taking. Then listening to your complaints, what has made you come to the facility, yeah? And then we check, look at the eyes from the front all the way to the back, and then we make our diagnosis from there. If there's need for investigations, we don't always send for investigations. Sometimes just a visual acuity, the pressure and the eye check on the slit lamp is quite enough for us to make a diagnosis. But if that extra step is needed, then that is what we will do. Yeah.
And what are the risks in case maybe someone does not have regular eye checks? What are some of the risks they're looking at?
Okay. So as I said, quite a number of conditions can happen even without any symptoms. So the greatest risk is blindness. Let me start from there. I don't mean to scare anyone. I would urge anyone who has a family history of any eye health conditions, anyone who has any systemic conditions, talking about diabetes, but also high blood pressure, also autoimmune conditions such as lupus. We have quite a number of autoimmune patients suffering from autoimmune conditions. Any history of allergies. There are patients who have used over-the-counter medications for so long because they don't want to come to the facility. However, some medications have very strong side effects. And I'll tell you, I have a young patient who is going blind because she's used over-the-counter medication from the age of 16, and I'm seeing her now at the age of 24, and the nerve is almost, one eye is completely blind. So fighting to save the other eye because of the side effects of this over-the-counter medication. So if we wait for symptoms, then we are risking visual loss. Yeah, and there are things we cannot reverse. Yeah.
Can the eye exam catch some diseases that probably are in the body?
Very good question. Quite a number of, as you said rightly, I was just thinking that this week, that the eye is the window to the rest of the body, right? So many patients, we've got TB because of an eye condition. When someone comes and says they have sensitivity to light, the eye is inflamed, and then when you look inside the eye, you say this looks like TB, and we'll do TB tests and we'll catch TB from the eye. We've got HIV from the eyes. We've got diabetes from the eye, high blood pressure because of the eye. Truly, the eye is a window to the rest of the body because it's an organ that is easily accessible. Yes. If the liver turns green, you won't know because you can see it. But if your eyes start to turn red, because you can see them, you come to the facility and we investigate and we determine whether or not this is something that is happening in the rest of the body as well.
What is the effectiveness now of the eye exam? How effective is it on a person's health?
I would say because we have agreed that the eye is like a window into the rest of the body, you have good chances. However, this is not a liver exam, this is not a kidney exam. Yeah. Right? So every organ has to be taken care of individually. So I still encourage a full body checkup, eyes included.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, let's talk about the technology, how technology has shifted even in terms of when you're having the, eye exams. Kitambo, it was just read this chart, go. What is now the change that we're seeing right now?
Let's start with, we have more ophthalmologists, we have more eye facilities than we did. I think long ago we had 1 or 2, maybe even 10 years ago. We didn't have as much access as we do now, which is such a blessing. Now we have more facilities that have all this high-end equipment that actually you can get worldwide, right? Like world-class care here in the country, which is such a blessing. We also have specialties and subspecialties accessible to us that we don't always need to go to other countries to get some of this, to have access to some of this care. That's a beauty of technology, that people went out there, got it and brought it back home, which I think is an amazing thing. Yeah.
So that there are some actually machines that can detect problems before I even get the symptoms?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let me show you.
Okay.
This part of the eye right here at the back is called the retina. It is paper thin, still has 10 layers. Within that paper thinness, 10 layers. But there are machines that can detect and tell you each layer and which layer has an issue and whether that layer is swollen or not. I think that's a marvel of technology.
All right. And how then do I choose that, how can I know that this is what I need for my eyes in terms of when I'm choosing the eye professional? What should I look at before going to visit, any optical shop that is there?
Great, that's a really good question. I think I'm biased because I'm because I'm an ophthalmologist. I always say start with an ophthalmologist first. If we clear you that there's no other eye problem, go get your fancy frames, get your enjoy. But first get a clearance that there's no other silent eye condition that's going on in your eye. Then we give you a return date of 1 year. Within that year.
Because people actually make the errors of this person is cheaper, this one is expensive, so I'd rather go to the cheap shop. Then how do I know that, I should, what should I look out for first when I'm thinking about looking into this optical shop?
So I would not advise anyone to just walk into an optical shop because you'll not really get a comprehensive eye checkup. Not as an insult to the optical shops. They are very good and are great partners in sending to us any patients who they feel this eye is not getting corrected with glasses. They will refer patients to us. So this is not meant as an insult. However, people need to go to an eye hospital and get the full screening done. Eye checked, we look at the back of the eye as well, and then determine your eye is okay, or you just need glasses, and then we refer you to the optical shops or the optical units now to do the glasses.
What are some of the misconceptions you've come across in your eye career?
I think we are very averse to surgery. The word surgery, I think, evokes fear in people's hearts. So that slowly is changing because truly there are some conditions that don't have any shortcut. You just have to go through surgery. Cataracts cannot be reversed. They are progressive. It's like a fruit. Once it starts to grow, it continues and continues. So the cataracts become more and more dense. So some things, there's no alternative. Patients have to undergo the knife. Another great misconception that really breaks my heart, especially when young children are struggling to see, they are getting headaches, they are not doing well in school because they can't see. But the parents or the guardians believe glasses are for older people. And for example, if I don't wear glasses, why should my child wear glasses? Which is very, very unfair to the children. I tell parents, get a second opinion. Get a second opinion. But if that other person also says you need glasses, please accept. Because who is suffering at the end of the day? It is a child. They're still getting headaches, they're still struggling in school, and that's not fair to the children. Yeah.
For this episode, Body Garage is on location at the City Eye Hospital, and for this particular eye exam test, we are at the Vision Acuity section, and we are just about to appreciate how digital and technological advances have, aided the exams and how you perform the exams. So take us through. Kitambo would see the chart, the reading chart, and now I'm seeing a modern screen. Take us through the difference.
Okay. So you're right, this is what we used before. It's still very useful in terms of portability. You can imagine if you're going out on screening camps where there's no access to electricity, this becomes very, very useful. Now the downside to this is that you must have 6 meters, right? Which is easily accessible when you're out there, but then you have to do accurate measurements to get accurate outcomes from reading this chart. So still very useful. However, now we are on to the new digital way of taking your visual acuity. This is very, very useful. You can actually cater to how much space you have in your office. For example, here in our facility we use about 2.5 meters, and it actually can be tailored to what you're seeing on the screen and converts it to what you would if you were using this one. Additionally, you can have so many options. This we call the tumbling C. You can imagine someone who is not literate. Yes. They can tell you where they see the gap or which side is the E facing. Right? So this we call the tumbling E. We have so many options without taking up too much space. If we were to do this using a chart, how many charts would be here? Yeah. Another benefit for children, they can tell you what they see. Yes. Those who are not school going yet, they can be able to tell you. Think about also patients who are mentally challenged, who don't necessarily go to school. They can also tell you what they see on the chart, and therefore you can be able to easily estimate their visual acuity. So this has become very helpful in covering as many people as possible in terms of testing their visual acuity. Yep.
Thank you very much, Doc. That's it for today on this segment of technology and medicine. Welcome back. This is Body Garage on TV47, and today we are focusing on routine eye checks. And as you can see, our set has changed, and for today I will be the patient. So Doc, this is the slit lamp. I can see here pachini imeandikwa. So what is this? What is this machine?
It's a slit lamp. So this is a series of lenses and light going through this whole machine to enable me to see the eye in fine detail. Let's all agree the eye is so tiny. Yes. If I'm going to detect anything, I need proper magnification. So this is what helps me to do that, to see everything in fine detail, so I can make a good diagnosis of what's happening in your eyes.
So it's just bringing the eye into finer detail. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, so there's this other gadget in here. So this also confirms eye pressure. So this is called a Goldman applanation tonometer. So there are different types, there are different ways of checking the eye pressure, but this is a gold standard. So anyone who during the initial assessment is found to have high eye pressure using the other gadgets, I will always confirm using this, which is a gold standard worldwide for confirming whether or not the eye pressure is above normal or below.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what next?
Okay. So my dear patient, place your chin here.
All right.
Tilt your head forward. Okay. Don't move your head.
Okay.
All right. So I have magnification here, and you can see my beam of light. So I want that eye to look at this ear. Very good. Okay, I will lift the upper lid so I can look at the top of the eye. Very good. Then I go to the other eye. Have a good look. Very good. So far so good.
Okay.
Then now I want to look at the inside of the eye. I'm not yet done. So this further magnifies. Yeah. So that eye, look at this ear. Very good. The light is a bit bright. Bear with me. Good. That looks good. Look.
It's
my
blinding,
ear.
But
This is what my patients go through. I'm done.
So what have you seen? Perfect.
Perfect. I can tell your age from the inside of your eyes. Everything looks good. So I can see the nerve, the blood vessels, the back of the eye. That's the retina. Everything looks great.
And
yes.
for a child who probably can't fit in here, what
very good. So, of course, that's a very logical question, that children are not able to do that. And so we'll put dilating drops, meaning we put in drops that will open up the pupil. And so whether or not they are able to focus. The same way I've told you, focus on my ear. I don't expect a 2-year-old to focus on my ear, right? So I have this gadget right here. This is called an indirect ophthalmoscope. This also is almost the same as, it gives me the light that I require. And I will use that. So this is almost a portable slit lamp. So I will use that combined with a different type of lens, much bigger than the one that I had. And with that, I am able to focus on the inside of the eye and look directly into the eye. So for children, for patients who are, say, mentally challenged, or for patients who don't have good vision, for example, if a patient has very poor vision, I'll not be able to tell them focus
On the ear.
on the ear. They can't see the ear. So this becomes very useful in such cases.
All right.
Yep.
So once you're done with the slit lamp, you have fine access of what is in my eye, then that's it.
Then now I can make a diagnosis, or I can decide whether or not I need further investigations. Will I be sending you for further tests, or do I give you a clean bill of health and tell you, let's see you in a year's time, or go get your glasses, we see you in a year's time. Yep.
And so after that, I'm going home. What should I do to ensure that now, what can I do at home to maintain eye health perfectly for myself?
Okay. So nutrition, we talked about. Good nutrition overall is good for you. For eye health, we advice for people who are on in front of tablets, computers all day, which I think is all of us, myself as well. I mean, I'm working in front of a computer the whole day. We have a 20-20-20 rule, meaning every 20 minutes, take a 20-second break by looking off into the distance of 20 meters. Okay. 20 meters is almost the equivalent of 6 feet. Now, for the eyes, near vision is work. It strains the muscles of the eye. So when we say look off into the distance of about 6 feet, that is rest for your eyes of about 20 seconds every 20 minutes. I like to couple that with a walk. Maybe go get a cup of water. Water is good for you. The walk is good for your muscles, for just getting circulation up and going. And even that that short walk is good rest for your eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've talked about taking a rest, but then on a day-to-day we have these gadgets, the electronic gadgets. You always have to sit on a computer. What should we ideally do? Okay, so the scenario that I painted earlier was what you would do when you're at work, when you really can't avoid the screens. At home, I would want us to restrict our times in front of the gadgets, be it your telly, your phones, your tablets. We really need to restrict how much time we spend in front of our gadgets, mainly because it interferes with the sleep patterns. The sleep cycles are highly tied to how much light we expose our eyes and our brain to. So ideally 1 to 2 hours before sleep time, we should not be exposing our eyes to light. For children, very importantly, it has been shown that early exposure to tablets, to gadgets, to any form of screen time actually delays developmental milestones, particularly speech, socialization, emotional development, has been shown very strongly to be affected by in children who are exposed to screens early on. So my advice to parents, and advice actually from the pediatricians, is that we restrict screen time to 2 hours, minimum of 2 hours a day. If anything, I tend to be more strict and say over the weekend, maybe 2 hours over the weekend. Another thing that is particularly tied to the eyes is that about 50% of Asians are short-sighted. And there was a huge campaign about 10 years ago. So this is compared to 10% in the rest of the world. So about 10 years ago, there was a huge campaign in Asian countries like Japan that were telling the children, go out and play. Because from the young age, the children are doing near work. So their eyes never grow and develop to have distance vision. So they end up with a very short-sighted population.
And we can all attest to the fact that we associate Asians with glasses, right? So there's a huge campaign and there's a huge association between our near work and the things that we do in childhood and how they affect the future. So for the sake of our children and for the sake of their future, outdoors is very important. We had a beautiful childhood. Let's extend that to our children. We used to go outdoors. Let that be encouraged. Too much screen time is not good for the children. Don't give your children your phone. Please avoid that as much as possible, both for their eyesight and also for their normal development. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Wanjiku, for your lovely time. We appreciate it.
You're most welcome. Thanks for having me.
So I guess it is about time that you and I take that regular initiative to make sure that we have those regular eye checkups. But before we go, let's take a look at the health tip of the day. Severe infection, etc. Wear sunglasses when the sun is out. Ensure that they protect against both UVA and UVB up to 99%. When welding or swimming, put on protective goggles to prevent foreign body and infections, respectively. A good home remedy for suspected eye infections is a half teaspoon of salt in 1 cup 250 ml warm water. Use cotton wool swabs to wipe the lashes thrice a day. This is good for school-going children as they get eye infections frequently. If this doesn't work or symptoms worsen in 2 days, please see an ophthalmologist.